welcome back to another episode of Kate and Omega. We are going to be bringing you stories of inspiration from those that have not only lived extraordinary lives, but also uplifted others along the way. I'm Kate, and I'm here with my co-host, Omega. And we are extremely excited today. It's going to be a really beautiful podcast. We have a very powerful voice in both the world of music and education. He is a musician. He is a writer. He is a college professor. Please welcome the incredible Chuckie Campbell.
But listen, before we even get into this, yo, Chucky, let them hear our hit single. Let them hear it.
This is The Culture.
Come on. You're now rocking with the crew of living. Yo, we gone so short to ever box with God. Gamble red. Who am I? You'll forever be wrong. This is a rap song. Set to self-destruct with this song. A ticking time bomb. Taped like a vest in my chest with guns drawn. Yelling life can only rise to the level you settle for. Set a core metaphor for metaphysical form. So now music is my medicine for me to metamorph. I'm a voice for the voiceless, but lately it's true that we can never underestimate stupid people with groups. And when we argue from afar, it's hard to tell who is who. So let us take time so we don't have to assume. You pay to play stages for video views. Purchase Spotify playlists for music gurus. But you don't paint, you don't break, you don't DJ in the booth. When you rap, you even do it like a vulture. Nah, I said it was dead. Common used to love her. You still haven't figured it out. This is the culture.
You don't know the culture, here's the whole structure.
That's what I'm smacking.
This is the culture.
Finish off his head mine like a vulture.
What jewels are destroyed?
We in the culture.
You don't know the culture, here's the whole structure.
That's what I'm smacking.
You are the culture.
Finish off his head mine like a vulture.
What jewels are destroyed?
We are the culture.
My words spill.
Windmill, beat murderous.
Believe it.
I'll kill that will. Pop, lock, and drop. Any MC
Think they will.
I got a strong will.
Believe it, I'll seal the deal.
Lyrical assassins.
Snipe you like a Navy SEAL.
Y'all do the fruity
Put you back like an orange peel.
Shake and bake. Over beat breaks
For peace sakes.
When y'all gonna realize I age like fine wine
From vintage grapes.
You in my path, a whole
smash.
You don't wanna
Clash with the Titans. You'll be hearing the sirens.
It's Red Lion, king of the jungle.
Hear me roar with metaphors and hustling and hardcore.
Feel the rapture, rupture. You lack the luster.
Street fight, I believe it, I'll snuff ya.
Hip hop run through my veins. I remain true to the game. Believe it, I'm the culture.
You don't know the culture, here's
Yo,
the
so
whole
Chuck, all right,
structure.
stop it. So
So
Chucky's a masterful at arrangements and putting real hip hop records together and being true to the culture. That's why that record was the way it was, and that's why it made me an animal. Like I
You
was
definitely an animal on that one.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you took it to him on that one.
Yeah, for
sure. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah, so this is why we're excited to have you both and talk a little bit more. So yeah, let's dive right in. Chucky, you and Omega grew up in the world of hip hop as a cultural backbone, but in very different cities, different backgrounds, and even lived different experiences. So can you tell us a bit about how hip hop shaped your life growing up?
Yeah, hip hop was my entrance into the world of ideas. So before I was ever like really an academic or into, this like ideological side of the world that I now inhabit, hip hop was my way of expressing myself and learning about how these ideas could impact culture and community. So I grew up in Kentucky, so it's not known for to be like a huge hip hop state or anything like that. But because of the musical influences and the cultural influences that were there, I was able to kind of become a part of a lot of really small cultural groups and communities and learn about what hip hop meant from people who cared about it deeply and wanted to make sure that it was passed on in the proper way.
I know, but Chucky, but you come from the home of like Muhammad Ali, like you come from like some
The greatest.
like he's my idol.
Yeah.
And you're from where he's from. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's not just about hip hop. It's also about like resilience, culture, also fighting against being not afraid to be truthful to your vision.
For sure. I think that, there's a lot of values that get instilled early on, just through.
From where you're from.
For sure.
Like, because I grew up the same way, like around like great people where I'm from. You grew up the same way.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's a strange state because it's not quite
Why you say it's strange?
Well, it's strange in the best way. Like artists are usually strange too.
I like that slang. I'm good at Chucky.
I like that.
Yeah. To be an artist, you got to be a little odd. You got to be ready to take chances. You got to cross lines and thresholds that people aren't afraid or aren't really ready to do if you're going to break any ground. And so, like, I feel like Kentucky having that strange space. It's not really in the South, and it's not really in the North or even the Midwest. It's kind of in this strange center confluence where liminal energy exists. So what I mean by that is like there's a lot of intersection between East Coast visions, Midwest kinds of music, the West Coast, the South, like hip hop for me was like this strange I suppose like intersectional space. So like I got to like kind of pick and choose and take from certain areas that other people didn't feel free to take from. We had people that did, like, I would say more of an East Coast Wu-Tang style influence. In Lexington and Louisville, you might have a more
by the way,
Midwest.
By the way, Wu-Tang, right? He met my man that grew up with Wu-Tang when we was on tour.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang taught me how to rap, by the way. Wu-Tang taught me how to rap.
Yeah, no, I owe Wu for like lots of influence in my life too. I had Capadonna was on my first album. Solomon Childs.
I went on tour with Kappa too. Like, that's funny. Like, we have a lot of similarities. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, and then my man came out that grew up with Wu, and he was telling me a little bit of stories. Remember telling you some stories about me?
Oh yeah. Now Red been around. You better believe it. Yeah, everybody got a story. Come on.
So it's like that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I love about Chucky. I've known Chucky for over a year now, but he's been like one of the realest.
I love that.
Like, dudes out here in Buffalo. Like, I would say he's my second best friend out here in Buffalo.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But all right, finish saying your story.
Well, I mean, well, as far as like, I guess the influence that Kentucky made on me was just kind of having all these different influences and figuring out what to do with them. The way that hip hop became like a vehicle for the ideas that emerged out of that cultural space, and then like trying to figure out how do I find my voice amongst all that. Like what is my authentic voice that's coming through? Because a lot of times when you're young and you're trying to develop that, some people never get to the point where they get to an authentic voice. They end up sounding like a lot of people, and then they don't give it enough time to develop to figure out who they really are.
All right, so and is that why you think artists that try to always like ride waves, they never make it?
For sure. I think that they do themselves an injustice by doing that, though.
Exactly.
Like, when you fit in too much, then you kind of just disappear into the ether of everybody else's art. But if you can stand out, be authentic, be different, take a chance on yourself, then people are going to notice that. They're going to say, whoa, I've never heard anything like this.
Right. And I think too that not only developing your skill as a musician, as an artist, but that goes for everybody trying to figure out exactly what it is that is their purpose and their passion. Like, figure out who your authentic self is, right? Sit with yourself, ask yourself, and then understand you so that you can
go to bed.
Go to bed. What is it? Mo said,
go to bed.
Go lay down.
Go
ask
to bed.
yourself, who am
who you are.
I?
Yeah. People are afraid of that.
They are.
They live through
And
this persona, right? They don't confront it. They can't sit in their own feelings because they can't sit with those feelings. They can't investigate them.
Right.
They can't locate them. You can't solve a problem you can't locate.
No.
You know, like, so they
Right.
spend years and years like trying to figure themselves out, or but you know. That's one thing that trauma does too, though. Like trauma, will make you run from the things that you need to confront. You know, and sometimes the things we're most scared of.
Okay, we get into this right now. Okay, see how deep we get into
I love it.
these stories?
No, I do. I love it because it's true. I mean, it's true. It's deep work. I'm excited to sit with both of you because, we're all of the same age group. We're in our 40s, right? I think all of us.
Yeah,
and,
I'm not in my 40s. What are you talking about?
Okay. Your father time. I forgot. Your father time.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm on the age that people want to see me as.
Vintage grapes. Hey.
Boston at that time. I'm talking our high school days when hip hop and grunge and all of those influences were happening. Kentucky and Buffalo. And I know in Buffalo, it was a segregated city. Like, to be completely honest.
It was or still?
It is probably still.
You think it is segregated or not?
I would love to say that it has made some strides since I was in high school in the early days, but I do believe that we as a community have some work to do still. Yeah.
Okay, but this is what I think. My world's not segregated here.
Well, that's great. That's beautiful. And I don't think mine
I don't think Chucky's is either. Chucky, is it for you? Is your world segregated here?
Mine isn't, but that's because I've embedded myself in certain communities.
Exactly. You go yourself in different cultures, right? Chucky? Chucky?
Yeah, well, I know where to go. I feel like there are some people, though, that maybe...
I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about you.
Oh,
your world's not segregated here, right? Why? Because you choose not...
I choose not to make it that way.
Me too.
Yeah. And I go to all the places.
And that's why we got an album together.
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely.
So with that said, I wanted to ask, so some positive changes that you've seen in the journey, in the years that you've sort of both been at this. Yeah.
In just hip hop or in general?
Yeah, I think hip hop and culture and in kind of infusing other people's belief systems and values and cultures, like all of it.
I feel like, there was a positive change. I say that hip hop feels, I don't know if it is or not, but it feels less violent than it used to be. When I was coming up, I feel like it was very, like, there was a lot of gang influence. There was a lot of people who felt like they had to not just be something that they're not, but they inhabited that fully, you know? Like, if you did not come from the streets or did not engage in the streets when I was coming up, that was a red flag for people, like, not to listen to you at all.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, for me, I mean, especially being a white guy that was performing black music, there was times where I found myself having to question my own actions or the things that I was involved in, because I was a part of a culture that had, there was situations where people were trying to prove themselves in ways that were sometimes illicit, illegal, and there's a lot of pressure there in a young person to figure that out.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I just want to, I know you got questions. I got it.
No, you're good. I know you.
So, Chucky, I want to know what it was like when, because me and you both are not from Buffalo. All right? Like, tell me what it's like when you first moved here till now. Because you've been here for what? You've been almost here as long as I've been here, for like 15, 20 years?
I've been here 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. So I've been here for longer than you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I've lived all over the world. So
me too.
Right. So
I'm an Air Force veteran. You're international basketball.
Right.
People don't know. If you don't know, Chucky played international basketball overseas. and we didn't even get into him being a college professor yet.
Yeah, we will though. Yeah, we will.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We have a lot of similarities.
For sure.
We moved to Buffalo, and here we are.
Right. You know, who knew that was going to happen the way it happened?
Yes.
You know?
So how was it when you first moved here? If I want to hear from a white perspective than a black perspective.
Yeah. So when I moved up here, I had just finished my PhD. I'd been living in Mississippi.
PhD. He just finished his PhD.
And then, from the University of Southern Mississippi.
Wow.
So that was, I went from working for the Obama campaign and being a McNair Scholar mentor, and finished my PhD in Mississippi to looking for jobs. And a guy reached out to me by the name of Christian Blum. And Chris is he's in charge of hiring people. He's also the director of Western New York campuses at Bryan and Stratton College. He asked me to come up to Buffalo to do an interview. They flew me up here. He drove me around for I would say maybe, 7-8 hours. I was just in the car driving around with him, and then we went in, did the interview, and he walked me around the campus, and they hired me. I've been up here ever since.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the journey here in Buffalo was strange. When I first got up here, I wasn't really even doing music. I have 2 metal plates in my face.
Okay.
So I stopped doing music for 7.5 years, and I hadn't been doing music. And after they hired me in January, my friend who got me into hip hop, Ralph Prater, he committed suicide.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
And so I had been publishing articles, doing creative work and things like that. And then after that happened, I came home. I was coming home after work, and it was really tough for me to compose anything else other than hip hop songs. It was strange. Like I should have
coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
It was coming out.
And so, ironically, one of my old friends, Willie Breeden, reached back out to me, and he had been living in New York City, but then had moved down to Nashville, and he asked me if I was still did music and wanted to do a project. And ironically, I've been sitting there writing raps for months, and not doing anything with them, And so he sent me a bunch of beats, and I ended up making an EP, and then one of the songs from the EP got picked up by Huffington Post, and I was scared to death I was gonna lose my job because I didn't. I thought these two personas don't mix.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's really great. That's a really beautiful part of your story. Is just like the passion and the purpose never leaves. The music never left.
Yeah.
And then it almost bubbles up to the point where it's like I got to get it out, and then everything that aligned to bring it even further up.
So what I've learned is how to weave all my purposes together, not separate them.
For sure.
As in time. That's what I've learned. So we got questions. I know.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I wanted to ask, a little bit about collaboration in tour life. Now that the audience knows that you guys, have an album together and you toured together.
And we have a show coming up, and we'll mention it later on.
Yeah. So let's talk about the magic of collaboration a little bit, and what has that experience of coming together with Omega to create an album and a tour been like? Maybe give us a memorable moment from when you guys were on tour together.
Oh man, there's so many. This guy right here, he's an animal, man.
I'm an animal.
Yeah, hey,
bro.
Let's let the skeletons out of the closet
Listen. The first. All right. Let's talk about it.
all right, let's break it down.
The first round we went through my hometown, New England. I think he did it on purpose to see if I was really the king of New England.
To check you?
Real talk. We went through the whole from Vermont, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But the Vermont, the first trip, I thought he was setting me up, trying to get me lost, and it was wires are broken down because they had some type of storm, right?
Yeah.
It was something going on in certain spots in Vermont, in the valley. There's no reception, there's nothing. So if you you're done. If you get a flat tire, you're done.
Yeah.
That was the first. So we got over that, but that was a dope show.
Yeah, we made the show. It was spectacular. It's a miracle we got there. Like the storm was crazy.
I wanted to say like following it on social media. I felt like what was really cool was there were like. It was really beautiful to see the progression from the first shows to the last. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where you guys were, but I tell you this all the time. Yeah. There was a venue that you were at where there's beautiful artwork all over the walls.
That's the DC one.
And I remember saying to you after watching it, I was like, I could literally feel the energy through the video. And I just think like it's a testament to, you guys to like really be authentic and showing your energy and showing like as the so that was really beautiful to
everyone
witness.
Says that. Everyone says they felt the energy. They felt, you know what I'm saying, like the authenticity.
Yeah, the connection, the chemistry.
We had a good time in Maine too.
Yeah, Maine was great.
We had a good time. We actually had a good time everywhere.
Yeah, we was in Portland.
I really good time in this hometown though.
Yeah.
No, Richmond, Kentucky. Yeah, we were at the Paddy Wagon. That was sponsored by 3 Core Bourbon.
Yeah.
So I was there all day. I was there in there like taking care of feeding people shots all day. And then at the end of the night we went ahead and shut things down.
Chucky around
took it to the limit.
Chucky around good people.
That's awesome.
I'm thankful for that. Like.
That's awesome.
It's been a long time since I've been around like artists that are around good people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he came to my hometown too. Like, Chucky, tell him what's up, Chucky.
Man.
Yeah.
No, he ain't lying. He's a legend. He's a legend, man. The people came out. They he showed and proved on stage everything. We shot a music video on the street. On the street. It was wild though. Like even the camera, like as he was capturing it, it was just crazy. Like I was looking at this video like, yo, this is about to be crazy. This is about to be one of the best videos I've ever done. I've done some great videos.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was. It really was.
He rolled up. He's like, what we gonna do? I was like, shoot now. You looked at me. I was like, let's do it now. We just right to it. Right to it. And everyone seen the unison and they were like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah. That's amazing. The icing on the cake, always, always,
baby girl. You know how I do.
What would you say the biggest challenge was that you guys faced? I'll start with you, Chuck, that you faced on tour. Biggest challenge. And it doesn't have to be this one, but just like in general, like tour life.
Man, there's a bunch of things that on this tour alone, like that Vermont show, like we had to drive around a storm. The storm was so bad they apparently we didn't know that there's an emergency thing that was out because we were driving and it didn't come to our phones because we was out in the dead spot.
I was scared.
So,
I faced my fear though. I faced it though. I faced it, but it was. So by the time we were getting close to the venue, the places were flooded so bad that we had to redirect and go around, and then GPS wouldn't connect so that we could go around, and so we had to find our own way. We finally make it to the venue. We think we're late, but we're not.
There?
No, Chucky skated off before me. He was like testing me, like. But I made it there before him.
Yeah, you got there before we did.
Because you know why? Because I'm an Air Force veteran, and I did logistics. I was a vehicles operator.
Right, you could just drop this dude, let him parachute him in the middle of Vietnam. This dude would like find his way out.
Get there, guys.
I know for real. He ain't lying. He tell you the truth.
Amazing.
But but Chucky gave me a run for the tour. Like I appreciate the experience that I haven't had experience like that in a long time.
Amazing. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's awesome. So Chuck, you're not only a musician, but you're also a college professor. That's an incredible dual path, and we talked a little bit about it before. This is always my favorite question to ask anybody. How did you find your purpose in both of those roles?
Yeah, I think that I was able, when I moved to Buffalo, I was able to merge those things. Before I was on separate paths. So I start off, as a young guy being very influenced into hip hop culture, taking chances on myself. I ended up getting a scholarship to play basketball, went overseas, and then came back, and I had taking a chance on myself musically. I moved to Nashville for a year or so, and then when we ran out of money, I ended up moving back home, and then after that, that's when the street fight happened. I ended up getting my jaw broken in 2 places, and so after that,
someone broke your jaw?
Yeah. So I didn't fight back in the fight because I knew the person.
So you didn't put your guard up or nothing? You just let him just beat you, break your jaw?
Well, the same person that was my mentor was the same person who had a mental break and attacked me. So when it was happening, instead of fighting him, I kind of just stopped and didn't do anything.
Yes, you stopped putting your guard up.
I didn't put anything up.
You were just like,
so
just take it out on me.
That's kind of what happened, yeah. And that was kind of.
Why'd you feel that way? That you had to let him do that?
I think it was because I kind of knew what he had been through. So I had come back from Nashville, and he had came back from Seattle. He had been homeless. He had thought or shared with me a story where he thought that he might his actual health might be in a bad place. We had went to a party that night to talk to a drummer because we was trying to set up a hip hop band. It was going to be us two as the MCs. The band was in the background, and I didn't drink back then. So like he had a couple shots, and we were on the way driving back home. The drummer had agreed to be a part of the band, and something happened. Like he was just in the car. You could just see his disposition change,
whole demeanor.
Wow.
And no, I mean back then they didn't know. Now we know a lot about mental health.
Yeah, it's definitely more prevalent, and people talk about it more. But back then they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, they just called. I mean, back then the only thing they knew, they say they had chemical imbalance. So
I heard that a lot back then. Chemical imbalance.
So I had seen him be violent many times in my life.
Not towards you.
Not towards me, never toward me. But I had seen him be violent towards other people. So Ralph had, he got expelled from high school because he beat up a teacher in the hallway. Before that, he had been warned if there was any other violent contact because he had picked a student up and tried to put the student's head in the bleachers and push the bleachers in on his head. So I'd seen it's not like I'd never seen the violence or the violent side of him, but I grew up in a low-income, high-crime environment. I saw violence all the time.
Right.
So I was consistently surrounded by violence more than, it didn't scare me because of that. It probably should have, but when you grow up in that kind of traumatic environment, it just becomes normalized.
Right, you get desensitized
and then,
by it.
Yeah, so this dude became one of my best friends. He introduced me to hip-hop. We had a unbreakable bond together, did projects together, and this just happened to be, I think he had been away in Seattle and some things happened to him that were some unmentionable and some he had already mentioned to me, and then something triggered him that I was unaware of, and so by the time we got back to the situation where things were going down, what actually happened, he ends up getting out of my car because I'm dropping him off at his grandpa's house. That's where he had been staying. His gramps was like my gramps, you know what I'm saying? Like I was real close with the family. His mother was inside. And when he got out, like he smashed his fist on the front of my car, and I'm like, yo, you just dented my hood in, so I got out of the car. But when I got out of the car, I didn't see nobody. And so by the time I got around to the front of the car, I got hit. You know what I'm saying? And so I had just had my wisdom teeth taken out, so my jaw was susceptible to sliding.
Right.
And so it slid to one side, and you also have to take in mind that this guy he trained in martial arts, all this other stuff.
Right.
He's not a small dude, you know what I'm saying? So he hits me a couple times. Instead of like fighting back, I kind of ended up going into like a freeze mode. And then by the time I realized if I don't fight back, I'm gonna die. You know, I was already on the ground and like a sleeper. You know.
Okay.
And so like, I end up when I wake up, I'm in my own blood. There's parts of my teeth on the ground. I had to pick those up. I don't know how I was aware enough to pick up my own teeth. You know, and then like instead of driving, I have to walk back to my house. You know, so we lived really close to each other because like we grew up in the same neighborhood. So I cut through somebody's yard. I'm like staggering back. Like half of my face is on the other side of my face.
Yeah.
You know, by the time I walk into the house, like my parents are terrified. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so they drive me to the hospital. The hospital calls the cops. The cops are trying to get me to rat on him. Of course, like I'm completely against that because that's against the code. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah,
Like, so I didn't tell anybody anything.
All right.
And
yeah. All right. Yeah. That's like I asked you, but like that's like you told the whole story. Like so after that, you know what I'm saying? What happened after that whole situation? Did he get locked up? Did he have to do time?
so he calls me because I wouldn't talk to anybody.
Right.
He calls me and tells me that I have to turn him in.
Oh.
And so I told him I didn't want to turn him in. I could barely talk because I got my jaws wired shut. And then his mom calls me and tells me that I have to turn him in. And so I went down to.
Why does everyone want? So why do they want you to turn? Why do you want to turn?
Well, it was bad. Like I had my jaw wasn't wired shut
So
for
was
3
it like-
monse. It was like wired shut for
You was
like
on some
almost
Kanye, like,
almost a year.
like,
Yeah,
spit through the wire, huh?
Yeah.
it was bad. Yeah, it was so like
I'm trying to make light of it, but
yeah. So
It sounds like it was like a very influential.
traumatic. It was very traumatic. Like your best
story in
friend,
your-
like when your best friend, like
right.
you rock with this dude.
Right.
They did music together,
Right.
Right. So I told you my situation, right?
Yeah.
When the guy I grew up with, and like he got me
Right.
locked. He got me locked up for like 3.5 years. Like it's very traumatic when someone you
Yeah.
grew up with and someone you're tight with.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And they just
And that happens.
they do
yeah.
something you wouldn't think, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
he didn't even remember.
Shocking.
He didn't even remember doing it.
Yeah.
So like you know, like the situation was I ended up going in there because he asked me to. He was in the back, you know, as I'm like describing what happened, and the cop is writing it down. Like you could hear him sobbing in the back. You know what I'm saying? He was really remorseful. But then they tried to, like, when the court case ended up coming up, like they tried to throw the book at him. They tried to like really put him away for like 25 years or something.
Wow.
Because I mean, I got scars like behind my ear. They don't know what he was doing there. Like there was all kinds of stuff going on. So like I ended up I wrote a letter to the judge on his behalf, and I think he got like 3 months.
Wow.
And so they let him out, but I'm unable to like really talk to him again.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I'm in this situation like where he's like the most important person to me because he's introduced me into all this stuff, one of my best friends, but then I can't bring myself to be close to him again because of all the
Right.
stuff that's happened. Fast forward, we go 7.5 years later, I got a PhD, I move up to Buffalo, and one of my friends calls me and tells me he committed suicide.
Wow.
That's right. I remember that now. I remember that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So like I spent years like kind of like blaming myself for the fact
right.
that happened.
Don't
you know?
ever blame
Yeah,
yourself.
don't do that,
blame
man.
yourself for that,
Yeah.
Chucky, because that's not. You didn't do anything, man. All you was doing was being a friend to him. You know what? Now,
So I have a question on that. Then how would you say the story that you just shared with us like has impacted the students that you work with and your academic in your purposes as far as an educator, and because of your experience that you just shared with us. Is there anything that you would, words that you would give, or words of wisdom to the generation or the the students that you impact each day?
Yeah. No, we. I think that what happened here is I was able to bring these two parts of myself together. In the end, it didn't end up becoming something that was bad for me. Instead of like post-traumatic stress,
Right.
like I'm in a state of post-traumatic growth.
Beautiful.
Like and my situation was like
Post-traumatic growth.
out of the trauma, like I experienced growth. Like I pushed myself into uncomfortable positions,
Situations.
and then and I was resilient through those, and it led me to better outcomes. And that's one of the things that I try to pass on to my students is that whatever you're going through now is not where you're going to be later.
Right.
You got to have vision.
Right.
You have to have persistence and commitment and dedication.
Yeah.
A dream without a goal is just a dream, and you can really, really do anything you want if you put your mind to it and you really find the patterns and put it to practice and put yourself into whatever it is that you love.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Let's talk about a little bit
love
about
that.
when you first moved to Buffalo from Kentucky, and then you became, you're doing your teaching. Like, tell me a little bit about that. Like,
For sure, yeah. No, when I started teaching at Bryan Stratton College, it was like the perfect gig for me because I'm from those low-income, high-crime neighborhoods, but I don't look like it. You could never tell. And so I'm here wearing the
why
tie.
is that? Why? Oh, because you're white with a tie.
Right, that's what the outside perception is, right? So most people can't see it until I start opening my mouth and talking to them.
Chucky, you know how many people tell me when I started doing records with you and they see me with you, you know how many people told me like, that was my college professor.
Yeah,
that was my teacher.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? You?
Yeah,
I'm like, that was your teacher. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I might be a better teacher.
Dog. You out here, man. You out here in these streets.
I'm all about saving lives here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the issue is whether it comes through a song or whether it's through my teaching. I see that as an art form too. It's an extension of me.
Wow. I love that. Wow, this has been really beautiful. I always think when we have conversations and people share their dual roles and all of that, embodies you as a human, I always wonder what that impact is on people. So I thank you for the impact that you've had on those that you've touched. This is my favorite time of our podcast as we come to a close. The game that I have chosen for us today, and Omega, as always, you're in on this.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Would you rather? So I'll give you, I'm just going to fire right off. I'm just going to go right in true form.
Here we go.
Perform in a sold-out stadium or an intimate gathering.
Intimate gathering.
I knew you say that. I same thing. Intimate gathering.
Yeah,
for sure.
People really listen to you.
Yeah, for sure. We see that, Chuck.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they also feel the people that are coming to see you feel heard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So this is a good one. So give up listening to music or creating music for a year. Would you rather?
Well, hold up. Say that again.
Would you rather give up listening to music or creating music for a year?
I'm listening.
Okay.
Say that question again. I'm confused.
Would you rather give up listening to music or creating music?
I'd rather create music.
Okay. That's what Chucky said too.
Yeah, I think we're creators.
Yeah.
So creativity is at our core.
Yeah.
But we kind of do have to listen to it to make it.
Right?
I think that's what you were saying. You were like,
I was like, let me. Yeah.
What about, so stream to millions or perform live?
Live all day. I'm all about the authentic right in front of you, man.
Okay.
I'm trying to
Okay, a tour. This is a tour bus. Would you rather tour on a bus or an airplane if you had the choice?
Tour on the bus or airplane?
Yeah, take it. Your vehicle.
they both travel though, right?
They'll both get you to the point, but one would be quicker.
If I ain't driving or flying, I'm good. See, I got you with that one.
So you don't care.
You said rather airplane or train.
I said airplane or bus.
No, bus, airplane, bus. It doesn't matter. If I'm not flying or if I'm not driving the bus.
You don't care?
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Chucky?
I'll go bus because I feel like on a bus, like you're connected to the other people. You can sit there, you know, learn about the other person, have a conversation.
Chucky saying that, but he don't want to have no conversation.
This dude right here, man.
Oh my goodness.
He's silly.
Okay, would you never?
But yeah, okay, Chucky, you're on the bus. All right, bro.
All right.
No, I would do the same thing though. Like I would do what Chucky would do as well.
Okay.
So I just want to see how Chucky moves in these situations.
I'm not a musician, but I would want to be on an airplane. I would, because it's just like less time. Less time with less. You say less time, but when you're traveling, you're on a plane, you're frantic. You're. What are you talking about?
I'm traveling with you. What are you talking about? You're like, I'd rather on a plane. No, it ain't. You be like, yeah.
Plus, if you on the plane, though, don't you have to have like a rental car?
Stop airing my dirty laundry.
I'll just put my Omega Red steak on it. No, but so you rather be on a plane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you do have issues when you fly.
Well, but okay, on a tour, I'm taking this far. I'm envisioning if I'm on tour and there's an airplane involved, that it's like a private jet.
Okay, all
and
right,
I go on there and there's all pink, beautiful cushions.
She has this. See how grandioso she is.
I am.
I'm
a master manifester.
I know.
Okay. Sorry, we have a couple more. Okay, would you rather have infinite energy or infinite time?
Time.
Time, me too. Never age. If you've never aged, would you rather never age from this moment or relive a favorite memory or moment?
Say that one more time.
Okay.
I gotta hear.
Would you rather never age again from this moment on, or would you want to relive like a really amazing moment that you've had?
I think I would have stayed this age because I can create other moments.
Yeah, I would stay the same age. I would stay where I'm at right now. I think I'm in a good sweet spot right now.
Yeah, I'm not one to look back into the past too and then like memorialize it. It is what it is and what it was, and then now I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah, for sure.
And this one, this is more geared for Chucky, but be remembered for your lectures or your music.
For my art, for my music.
Okay.
You want to be you don't want to be remembered by your lectures?
I think I'm going to be anyway, but like the music, I still got more music to make.
And you don't have any more lectures to make?
I do, but they come out differently. They're more like they require extemporaneous speaking, like off the top of my brain.
Chucky, what is that word you just said?
Extemporaneous speaking.
Anyone knows what that means? I don't know. Explain what that word means to me.
It's just
Chucky,
off the
don't
cuff.
try to talk over my head.
No.
He said.
I didn't know it either.
It's off the cuff speaking. It's just making up the words as you go. And so
freestyling then?
Yeah.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I taught 2 classes today. That's what's on my mind.
I just want to let people know, like I'm catching them. Don't think you could talk crazy to me, bro. I'm not gonna catch that stuff. He said expertise. I'm like, what? What is that? People need to know, Chuck. I want people to know how intelligent you are. I was supposed to cuss, but
I just think that the lectures are going to live on. They're going to they're going to find a way into the world. Yeah. And there's already people out there that they've held on to things that I've said, came back to me and remembered them. So
what's that called? Seeding.
Planting the seed.
They didn't know.
Yep.
They didn't know.
I know.
You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Chuck.
Yeah.
They still don't know, Chuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Chucky, this conversation has been inspiring on so many levels. I love how you've bridged the gap between music and education and showed us that purpose can take many forms. And for our audience, thank you so much for diving into another personal story about cultured reflections and meaningful insights between art and purpose. And please continue to like, follow, and subscribe to us as we continue the journey of bringing you positive content and stories of inspiration. Thanks again, and share some joy and
stay Stay grinding.
Thank you so much.